O que acende a sua vontade de começar algo? Tem uma faísca em você que te chama para empreender, investir, dar novos rumos para sua vida. E para todos os seus começos, você pode contar com Santander Select. Um banco mais pessoal, mais próximo, mais humano. Um time de especialistas com olhar atento para cada momento da sua vida. Porque você sabe, só quem já deu muitos passos está pronto para continuar começando. Santander Select. Começa em você, começa agora.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
Well, I told you folks immediately following the debate, I didn't waver. I told you President Biden was not going to be able to continue his re-election campaign. Now comes the added pressure. Dominic Carter here with you folks. Good afternoon. So one, Pelosi non-committal. Nancy Pelosi non-committal on Biden's 2024 bid, stating time is short to find a replacement. George Clooney. I know you know by now, George Clooney, the Oscar-winning actor, is calling on, and top Democrat, is calling on Biden to drop out of the presidential race after co-hosting that fundraiser. In a New York Times op-ed, Clooney says he cannot win, that the 81-year-old incumbent cannot win. So the calls are growing for Biden to do the right thing and get out of the race. This is how CNN reported the George Clooney news when it broke today.
This just into CNN, big Democratic donor George Clooney, of course, the actor, has just called for President Biden to step aside. CNN's Arlette Saenz joins us now from the White House. Arlette, obviously, this is not going to be welcome news over there. What can you tell us?
No, it won't be, Jim. And this is a significant new New York Times op-ed from actor George Clooney. Now, to remind viewers, George Clooney was one of those celebrities that headlined a major Los Angeles fundraiser with President Biden back in June. And today, he is saying that he believes it is time for President Biden to step aside from this 2024 campaign. Now, George Clooney wrote extensively about President Biden, saying, "We are not going to win in November with this president." He recounted being with Biden at that fundraiser, saying, "It's devastating to say it, but the Joe Biden I was with 3 weeks ago at the fundraiser was not the Joe big effing deal Biden of 2010. He wasn't even the Joe Biden of 2020. He was the same man we all witnessed at that debate." He goes on to say, "Our party leaders need to stop telling us that 51 million people didn't see what we just saw."
And so let's go ahead and open up the phone lines, 800-848-9222, 800-848-9222. And now, Nancy Pelosi, the former top Democrat, the speaker, she is non-committal. Listen to what she said also on CNN.
It's up to the president to decide if he is going to run. We're all encouraging him to make that decision because time is running short. I think overwhelming support of the caucus. It's not for me to say. I'm not the head of the caucus anymore, but he's beloved. He is respected, and people want him to make that decision, not me.
He has said he has made the decision. He has said firmly this week he is going to run. Do you want him to run?
I want him to do whatever he decides to do.
Folks, you heard it there yourself. The countdown is underway. Biden cannot and will not continue this race. We understand that the White House is quite defiant, but it is over. Hollywood is backing away from him. The money is backing away from him. Democrats are backing away from him. And from day one, he could not beat Trump. Let's say he had a decent debate showing. He still would be in trouble because he cannot defeat Trump. Trump is headed back to the White House. I told you folks that a long time ago as well. It's all interesting to see how this is turning out. And now, another Hollywood type, Michael Douglas, appeared on The View today. Michael Douglas, the actor, and he's a longtime Biden supporter And he's reacting to George Clooney's op-ed, and even Michael Douglas is acknowledging that he, too, is concerned.
Well, I think it's a valid point. I mean, I'm deeply, deeply concerned. I mean, especially it's difficult because the Democrats have a big bench. I mean, they've got a lot of heavy hitters.
A lot of talent there.
A lot of talent.
They're well known. People have to catch up. They only have a few months to catch up.
And I do worry with, like, the debate, the difficulty with the debate. I mean, it was relatively simple. I mean, you just, first of all, they should have just told the president to stand up, put a little makeup on him, for the debate, which should help, and then where to look.
Mm-hmm. And call the other guy a convicted felon.
And call the other guy, and just don't deal with all your facts, just deal with his lies.
Yeah. Just say you're a liar. That's a lie. That's another lie, and
right.
a lie, and
when
a lie,
he does that,
lie.
everybody says you're not doing that. You know, you can't win in this game. I really feel bad for him.
Well, President Biden, I would not listen to anything they say on The View. That's what has you in the predicament that you're in right now, listening to those far-left progressives that don't know, sorry, ladies, what they are talking about. 800-848-9222. Yes, they're multimillionaires for stating what they do on The View, but that's about it. Talking heads of the far left. And it has the Democratic Party, it has all of us in trouble because the Democratic ideas that they have carried out have impacted mainstream America in a big way from the migrant issue on down. 800-848-9222. So Trump held that big rally in the Miami, Florida area last night. And a couple of things that I found interesting. One, it seems to have been a coming out party for his 18-year-old son, Barron, a coming out party for the young man as he's set to go to college. And Trump acknowledged his son, and so did the crowd, with a standing ovation.
And a very young man. This is a young man. He just turned 18. Oh, look at this. A very young man who's now going to college, got into every college he wanted to, and he made his choice. And he's a very good guy, I'll tell you. You know, I'm not allowed to call them boy, but he is my boy. He's my boy. They're all my boys, right? When you have sons, they can be any age. They're your boy, they're always going to be. And he's a very special guy. Barron Trump. This is the first time he's ever done this. Barron.
Nice to see the young man receive some positive applause as he is there at the rally supporting his dad. Let's begin with your telephone calls. Russ, line 1, White Plains. Good afternoon, Russ. What's on your mind?
Hey, rule number 1, nobody puts Dominic in a corner. So I'm going to just say what I think and not ask you.
Okay.
I'm a Trump voter, but I'm guaranteeing Biden's not quitting, and Biden will win. You can look. We've got a build-up to war. We've got this automatic registration for 18-year-olds. We got U.S. advisors in Ukraine. The Children's Hospital blown up by U.S. drones, and they're saying Russia's hacking our elections. Biden's in a position to have a war start, and it'll the wag the tail thing, and I just don't be upset when Biden gets reelected, and then he'll pass the torch to a lovely black woman named Kamala Harris, and he'll be a great civil rights guy. He'll bootstrap Kamala into office, and I'm upset about that. Don't get me wrong. I voted for him last time, and I'd vote for him again, but he's not going to win. I feel very depressed about this. That's why Teddy. I heard Teddy. He didn't even mention me. I felt bad. He mentioned all the other callers, but not me. I'm a Trump voter, but I'm upset because they're going to steal it from Trump again. So I appreciate you letting me say that, and I'll never put you in a corner again, Dominic.
Well, Russ, thank you for the call. You said that Biden's going to run and win. One, he's not going to run, but okay, you believe he's going to run and you believe he's going to win. I don't see how you can come up with that scenario, but you said he's going to pass it on to a black woman. Why? I'm just curious, why does it have to be about a black woman as opposed to a qualified vice president of the United States of America?
Well, or a qualified Supreme Court justice, and I think Justice Jackson is qualified. I think he just go down as a hero. He looks good. It's all about him looking good. Then he'll pardon the family, and he'll go out riding out on a wave. And believe me, he knows, and these other Democrats know that he's going to get reelected. They don't want the gravy train cut off. They know that he's going to pull this on us. And, people are going to die. You ever hear of Democrat wars, Korea, World War I, World War II? I never believed it was a Democrat wars, but now I'm older, and I see Democrats will kill people to stay in power and have the money. The money associated with Biden and the Democrats is unbelievable. But thanks, Dominic.
Thank you for the call, Russ. President Biden is not going to be running. The countdown is underway. The White House is in denial until it becomes reality that it's no longer possible for him to continue his campaign. Hollywood's turning the corner on him. The money's turning the corner on him. Democrats are looking the other way. Not all Democrats, but enough to make it a major problem for the White House. Let's go to Frank. Orange County, I believe, New York. Frank, what's on your mind?
How you doing, Dominic? I actually spoke to you 4 years ago when you were working at nights about being optimistic about Biden. I just wanted to say that I feel like that Joe Biden was elected by the Democratic Party. They didn't allow anybody else to run, and they're going to pull the carpet out from under him like this just so that another person can win because they hate Trump so much. Is that what you feel? I'm not sure.
Well, so one more time, Frank. So you feel that, just state it for me one more time.
I'm sorry. I'm getting gas right now. Fill it up on super unleaded.
Hey, Frank, you're multitasking.
Gas it's cheaper.
Hey, wait. Frank, you're in Marwa?
Yeah, I'm in Marwa. I got the Bolero station. Hey, getting gas in New York.
Hey, guess what? Guess where I get my gas from, Frank?
Where?
Marwa, New Jersey. So we have
same place,
so
right?
we have something.
Yeah,
you got to save money where you can. It's on the tip of the state of New York. But just one more time with your point, please.
I feel that Joe was elected by the Democrats and the Democratic Party. They pushed him, and that's what they wanted. And now because the media lied to us about how he was. The media, you guys were always telling the truth about him, and you guys were the liars. And now this is what's going to happen. And I heard the other guys speak also. It will be disaster if they do not put Kamala Harris in. The black vote will be very upset. I don't mean to be talk about race, but I think it's a true fact.
Right. Well, they put Kamala Harris in. It's over. She cannot win. She will do worse than Biden. Hey, Frank, do me a favor. Pay attention while you're pumping your gas. We don't want the gas spilling. Good luck with that. Thank you for the call. Look forward to chatting with you in the future. Let's not make it a 4-year wait the next time until we speak to each other. Dominic Carter here with you. We are going to take a break. When we come back, more of the news of the day. Plus, we will be talking with Curtis Lewa, guardian angel Curtis Lewa. Folks, help me and pray for me because God only knows what Curtis Lewa may say.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
Did anyone ever see the lovely movie Silence of the Lambs? Did you see it? Did you ever hear of Hannibal Lecter? He was a lovely man. He would love to have you for dinner. He will take you. You had many people for dinner. Well, we have a lot of people coming in. They always say, oh, that's terrible, that Trump would say. He is rambling about Hannibal Lecter. No, I'm not rambling. We are allowing people from insane asylums and mental institutions into our country by the tens of thousands, and they're closing them down in other countries. Because, you know, the cost savings and all of the savings.
President Trump from his rally last night in Florida, where his son Barron Trump received a standing ovation, and a bit later we'll let you hear how Mr. Trump is challenging the current incumbent Joe Biden to a round of golf, a golf match in which Trump says he'll put up $1 million to Biden's favorite charity should Trump lose. Dominic Carter here, back with you. We are going back to your telephone calls, but first, the pressure continuing on the Biden White House to get out. As I've been telling you folks since the debate, not if, but when. Does not matter what the White House says. It's a matter of not if, but when. The moment that George Clooney wrote the op-ed, and it is a scathing op-ed in the New York Times. It made worldwide news. Listen to how Sky News covered the Clooney op-ed just a few hours ago.
I want to bring you some news that's coming to us from the United States, and the actor George Clooney has come out saying that he thinks President Biden should leave the presidential race. Clooney, of course, is a high-profile Biden supporter and a fundraiser for the Democrat Party, but has said that he thinks it is time for President Biden to step aside and leave the presidential race, and said so in an opinion column for the New York Times.
And Nancy Pelosi, big Democrat, all of a sudden, she's non-committal on Biden.
He has said he has made the decision. He has said firmly this week he is going to run. Do you want him to run?
I want him to do whatever he decides to do.
Interesting, folks. Let's go back to your telephone calls. Liz in Florida. Liz, good afternoon. What's on your mind?
Hi, Dominic. So I believe Biden, he does not want to leave. Jill does not want to leave the White House. Hunter does not want his father to leave. So apparently Biden does not want to bail. What will it take for the Democrats or all that money that's supposed to go to him? What will it take to get him out? Who can make that decision? Who can get him out if that's all the pressure and it's not working? And he's just refusing to bail.
Great question, Liz. Let's put our cards on the table. Mr. Biden controls much of the situation because he's the nominee, if you will, and the convention is right around the corner. So if he doesn't want to go, it's very hard. But what you do is the Hollywood types continue to speak out. The major Democrats around him, the Schumers of the world that are standing with him, the Pelosi's of the world, and the person that might be able to connect with him perhaps the most, the former president of the United States, Barack Obama, in private. So the bottom line is there's nothing you nor I can do, Liz. It's a intra-party battle, if you will, and it's almost like a death by 1,000 cuts. If you had to make a prediction, Liz, what do you believe is going to happen?
I don't think he's leaving unless Obama steps in. We have not heard from him. And like you said, speaks to him because Obama is calling the shots. I think he's the big guy that they're always, he's always talking about.
Fair enough, Liz. Thank you for the call. Time for a break. Don't forget, folks, coming up a bit later, Curtis Sliwa, the guardian angel. He'll join me for his take of the news of the day. And I will be right back with more of your telephone calls.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And we are back on this very, very hot summer day. As I mentioned earlier, a lot is happening. George Clooney telling President Biden it's time to call it quits for his reelection campaign. Michael Douglas not going that far, but stating that Clooney is right in his assessment. Nancy Pelosi non-committal on Biden. It's going from bad to worse. But no matter what happens, no matter who the Democratic nominee is, Trump is headed back to the White House. If Democrats put in Kamala Harris, it'll be even worse than if Mr. Biden was the nominee. And the New York Times has a report that Democrats have already picked out at least 3 Democrats who could serve as the VP's running mate. So in other words, Kamala Harris at the top of the ticket, give me a break, and three Democrats that could be her running mate. And so on top of the list, according to the New York Times, Governors Roy Cooper of North Carolina, Andy Bashar of Kentucky, and Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania, with Cooper the clear front runner, according to the New York Times. We'll see how this all plays out. Let's go to Joseph, line 4, Fairfield, Connecticut. Good afternoon, Joseph. What's on your mind?
And good afternoon, Dominic. Yes, I think we're living in really dangerous times right now as long as Biden is there in control and in there to defend the American people. Now, what scholars have said about impeachment, and I think this is the only way to really resolve this because he's not going to get out. And even if we wait until November, that's 4 months. A lot of harm can be done. So scholars have said impeachment is a way to remove the president when the American people are in danger of something, and immediately in danger. And that's the problem. That's the issue right now. That's what should be looked at. If he stays for another 4 months, we can still have some turmoil and problems that he can't handle. He cannot handle. So what I suggest is go to impeachment, and maybe some senators might.
But Joseph, that's never going to happen. I don't even understand what. I mean, is that just wishful thinking? There's never any possibility of him stepping down now. And impeachment, you don't have the votes. So how do you go to impeachment?
Well, if some Democratic senators say that the United States, the American people could be harmed by him being there because he's in control of the defense of the United States, maybe that's the only way to remove him because he's not going to get out on his own. And even if he says he won't run after November, he's still the president for another 4 months.
There's nothing you can do about that, Joseph. We're all going to have to cross our hands and cross our fingers and hope for the best. There is nothing. There's not even a single iota of amongst Democrats of trying to remove him from office. That's not going to happen. So
it's the only way I can see that he'll never give up his office. He's not going to resign.
Right. Well, it's a situation that's ongoing. Joseph, thank you for the call. And so I'm looking now, folks, and I do the segment with Anthony Weiner, the left versus the right, on the weekends. And now his ex-wife, Huma Abedin, is now engaged, according to page 6 of the New York Post, to the son of George Soros, Alex Soros. And apparently Soros popped the question 6 weeks ago, and the couple was spotted recently celebrating the happy news for them in Italy. And so Mr. Weiner's ex is apparently engaged to be married to George Soros' son. We are taking your telephone calls. Let's go to Sandra in New Jersey. Sandra, what's on your mind?
Oh, that's terrible news about Soros and Ahmadine together. Oh, my gosh. But what I wanted to say today, Dominic, if I may, I often say at the register, wow, we need a new president. But now I'm saying we also need a new first lady. I heard the other day Melania Trump mentioned she received an award, and I heard Jill the other night at a speech that she gave. She was very, very mean, and I'm wondering if out of desperation she's changing. I don't ever remember her being the way she is now. I might be wrong. Maybe I never noticed. I don't know. But all I'm saying is I long for Melania Trump. I miss her. And I'd love to see her back in the White House. She brings so much class, professionalism. She's regal. She's lovely. She's smart. And I miss her. That's all I wanted to say, Dominic.
And so you feel that the current First Lady does not bring those things?
No, I do not think she brings those things. I think quite she's the opposite. I don't want to talk bad about her, but I don't think she has any of the qualities that Melania has. I don't think so. I'm sorry to say that.
Okay, fair enough. Sandra, thank you for the call. Let's go to Oceanside, I believe, New Jersey. And Mike, what's on your mind?
Hey,
Long Island, I do believe. Go ahead, Mike.
All right, thanks for taking my call. Number one, we don't want Biden to step down because we want Trump to kick his ass during the election. That's number one. Number two, Kamala Harris, what are her qualifications? Her father was born in Jamaica. Her mother was born in India. That makes her first generation. In the Constitution, it says you have to be second generation to run for the president or be president because your allegiance would be to this country and not England. She's first generation, and that's part of our democracy because the left keeps talking about the democracy. Well, this is part of it. She doesn't have the qualifications. And number three, you got all these women, all the black women saying they're not going to vote for her. She's not black. She's only half black. They don't know that. People have to know this stuff.
Mike, I'm not going to engage. I've never understood that argument of breaking down, oh, you're 10% black, you're 20% black, you're half black. She identifies as African American, and so it is what it is, Mike, but you don't see it that way.
Oh, no, I don't. Well, you know what? She can do whatever she wants to identify. The fact is, in the Constitution, it says you have to be second generation to be president or run for the presidency. She's not. She's first generation. So that means she's not qualified. It's in the Constitution. If they do that, then this country's falling apart. They're not following the Constitution that our forefathers wrote.
Well, thank you for the call, Mike. The country is falling apart. I hate to be the one to, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but just look at the southern border. Just look at the treatment that the migrants are receiving. We are already in that situation. Gracie, Rockland County, New York. Good afternoon, Gracie. What's on your mind?
Hi. Good morning here because we're still early. Listen, number one.
Here is California. Here is California.
I'm still here. Next week, God willing, I'll be in New York. New York, that hell of a town. Okay. I'm getting tired already. Yeah. Two comments for two callers. The caller two before me said something about impeachment. Take that out of your mind. You're dreaming because that's all the Republicans will need to do is bring up impeachment charges. We'll really lose. That's number one.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And number two, if we want to get rid of Biden, if the Democrats want to get rid of Biden, they got to cough up the money. Show me the money. We'll get him a golden parachute, and then he'll leave.
So you believe, Gracie, a golden parachute will fix the dilemma. But Biden is concerned about his legacy, and that can't be fixed, Gracie.
No, you want to know something? I don't think he even knows what legacy is anymore. It's the wife and the son No, sweetheart, he's really bad. I'm old. I see old people. I have all my marbles. And on that, I'll say goodbye. I love you.
Love you too, Gracie. Thank you very much for the call. Dominic Carter here with you folks. Let's go to Rick in New Jersey. Good afternoon, Rick. What's on your mind?
Good afternoon, Dominic. Thanks for taking my call. Judge Joe Brown was interviewed. The interview is about 5 minutes long. It's on YouTube. And he says Kamala Harris is 0% African American. Her great-grandmother, who she claimed was black, was actually Hindu.
Okay, but I hear that. I hear the argument. I've heard the clips of Judge Joe Brown. I honestly want to know, what did Kamala Harris do to piss him off? Because he is pissed, and he's doing it in a calm way. But he is, the interview that he gave is brutal, accusing her of sleeping her way to the top, not just once, not just twice, not just three times, but in many industries. The interview is brutal. The woman identifies as a black woman, Rick. I mean, how do we get around that? How do we? I was going to say she went to a black college, which she did. Whites go to black colleges as well. I don't understand why that's even relevant, to be honest with you.
Well, because they're saying, Kamala Harris could get the black vote. But if she's not black at all, then she's lying to people saying that she's part black.
Okay, so like that woman with the NAACP in Spokane, Washington, but it didn't work out well for her. She lost her job. She lost everything. She identified as black. She portrayed herself as black, and her mother said she's not black. She's as white as the driven snow. So you think that this is a fraud committed by Kamala Harris? That's what it sounds like you're saying.
Absolutely.
Fair enough. Thank you for the call. Let's stay in New Jersey. Let's go to Phil. Phil, what's on your mind this hot afternoon?
Yeah, it is hot. I'm out weeding garden, but love the show. A comment on the George Clooney report. They're missing a big thing. A couple of weeks ago, Clooney had a dust-up with Biden because his wife works for a Hamas-oriented UN agency, and they wanted to indict all the Israelis for war crimes. And Biden's State Department said, no, that's BS. And so he was all upset about that he insulted his wife, again, who's working for Hamas. And that's not part of the story, and nobody's reporting it, and I don't know why.
So you really believe that it's payback, and that has something to do with this, but not the fact that Mr. Biden, his disaster of a debate performance that we're all talking about. You believe that it's payback time.
No, I don't. I'm just like Curtis. He always states the facts. All I'm saying is that the reporting leaves that important fact out. Whether it has anything to do, I don't know. But I know it's a fact that all the reporting is leaving out, and I don't understand why.
Fair enough. Thank you for the call, Phil. The fact of the matter is that this is already a worldwide story, the George Clooney element. Mr. Biden is not going to be able to survive too many more of these types of stories. He can dig in his heels all he wants. The First Lady can dig in her heels. Hunter Biden can dig in his. The handwriting's on the wall. He has to go. Let's go to Carlotta, Rhode Island. Rhode Island, what's on your mind?
Don't be so sure he has to go, because they got away with it during the Mueller probe. If you tuned in, that man was in the same shape as Biden. He never said a word, and he was a hero. And they're going to run Biden because they could run a piece of wood. There's no voter ID. They have millions of people voting that shouldn't be voting. They're counting on winning, not by virtue, but by winning, just by having all these false voter IDs and all these pieces of wood. They got away with it with Mueller. If you look at Mueller's condition today, I assure you he'll be worse off than Biden, because he was further down the road then. And that's how they do it.
I hear you, and I don't want you to blow a gasket on me, but I do have to be honest with you. I believe that for the most part, we have a fair election, and that train has left the station. So I don't want to revisit that issue because it's useless. Let's see what happens going forward. I do thank you for the call. Let's go to Yvonne in New Jersey. Good afternoon. What's on your mind?
Hi, Dom. This might border on the dramatic, but I think if the Democrats really want Biden out of the way, they could do what the Russians did. They have medicine that they could shoot him with, make it look like a heart attack, not really, but just lay him out for a month, and then he's got to drop.
Yvonne, I hear you, but I mean, so you're saying do that to the President of the United States of America?
Hey, they shot Kennedy.
Okay. Well, Yvonne, thank you for that call. On that note, some calls don't warrant a response. I respect Yvonne's opinion, but I just strongly disagree with what she said there. Time for a break. More of your calls when we come back. Plus, Curtis Sliwa of the Guardian Angels. He'll join me with his news of the day.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And they do excellent work. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation, worthy of our support. I'll have more on them in just a few minutes. So I'm joined now by Curtis Sliwa. We see all of your calls coming in. Curtis Sliwa, who I understand is going to tee off on one of the topics that we discussed yesterday. Now, what would that happen to be, Mr. Sliwa?
So briefly you discussed it. So briefly. Because nobody around here wants to touch the third rail. Well, guess what? I know people of color, brothers and sisters, they're going to accuse me. They will say, oh, there's white fragility. You know, why is it so hard for white people to talk about race? Man, Curtis Sliwa talks about race all the time, right, Dominic? I talk about it when it isn't even pertinent to the conversation. So, number one story, even more important than Biden, because he'll be there tomorrow and the day after and the day after, is Duke University School of Medicine. Don't ever go there for your medical needs, because they have told all of their interns, all their doctors, all of their teachers, nurses, that expecting people to be on time is part of white supremacy culture. So if all of a sudden you need anesthesia and the anesthesiologist happens to be a person of color, tough noogies, white boy, you should die on that gurney, because that person going to take his sweet old time getting in and checking in and putting on that white robe and doing his medical thing. This is crazy. And the Duke backs it, and the actual person who is backing this up is the dean, the school's dean. Now, you know, when you went to school, you went to Roosevelt High School, right down the road from the Mickey D's that I was night manager of. And the dean was always the one who had to deal with you if it was a discipline problem. I was like a DI drill sergeant. The dean at the Duke University School of Medicine, don't ever send your kids there. Don't take a reverse mortgage or a payday loan. Don't do it. Has said this is right. It's called Dismantling Racism and Advancing Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion in our School of Medicine and Medical Science. And I'm just saying it's time we stop nitpicking people of color about being on time, dressing appropriately, their speech, you know what I mean, and their work style. So, brother, you should be happy now. This is the Harvard of the South, Duke University, right? Doesn't get any better than that in the South.
Can you imagine if I said to the Casamatides family, well, I know my show starts at 3 p.m., but I feel I should be able to walk in at 3:15. Can you imagine how well that would go over?
Yeah, and I can see John and Margot saying, take your time. And then all of a sudden you walk in the studio, you see Curtis Lee were here, eating up more time like a Pac-Man, like I do to everybody else. I mean, this is the craziest thing I've ever...
Yes.
And yet there are people who are going to continue to contribute to the endowment, which is extensive at the Duke University School of Medicine. This is a top-flight school.
And somebody got paid to write this.
Oh, millions. Millions. It's part of the curriculum. And remember, a white person, according to this, may be triggered to engage in a range of defensive actions, feelings, and behaviors such as anger, which Curtis Lee always has, anger management issues, fear, or the ultimate way that you know you got over on a white person is they're quiet. They're so frightened. They're scared. They're like a little church mouse. I don't want to say anything. I'm going to be offending people. Yes, I am guilty. I am guilty, guilty, guilty. I'll say it 1,000 times of white supremacy. Because America is rigged for my interest, for white people, solely because we are Caucasoid Caucasians.
What are you on today? What did you have today?
No, I'm defending white people. Remember, for a long time, WABC represented always broadcasting Caucasian. Always broadcasting Caucasian. And now people of color have broke through to the other line. So I got to set up the firewall here. Now you guys are going to be walking in, lollygagging around, talking about, you know what I mean, with your jeans down on your ass.
Never going to happen.
Well, wait, according to this, that's A-okay. That's fine.
And your name carved into your haircut?
Damn right, on your fade, on your side, man. And you got to go to...
What do you know about fades?
Oh, man, I've been in those black barber shops, man. They talk a lot of trash in those black barber shops.
Wait, you walked into a black barber shop?
Of course I walked into a black barber shop. My name is Curtis. Most people whose name is Curtis are thought to be African American.
What is wrong with you?
Nothing. I have to do research. You know where most politics is done in the black community, in the black barbershops, and in the black churches.
Well, thank you. Folks, on that note, all it takes is $11 a month. Donate $11 a month to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation at T2T.org.